As of March 2016, there were 1,125 species that were protected by the Endangered Species Act. Of that 1,125, only 25% of those animals were actually being allocated to recovery. So only 25% of the animals on the list, there's only stuff being done for those few animals. So those few species are being allocated to recovery, but then so many others are not. And this is because there's not enough money to fund the recovery and places for the animals to go. And I think that's really sad. It's really sad that there are so many species that are endangered, but there's not a lot that are actually being protected or helped to actually become recovered so they're not endangered anymore. I chose this topic because I care all about all animals, no matter what kind it is, where it lives, it doesn't matter. I care about all animals, and I feel like all animals should be taken care of, and no animals should be have their lives put at risk. I feel like all animals need to be protected, whether they are endangered or not. Because if all animals are protected, then we won't have to worry about animals being endangered. But humans themselves are putting the animals in danger because they are doing things personally that affect the animals. No matter, all parts of the world, there are animals being harmed, and that needs to stop. And humans can play a huge role in this, and there's lots that they can do to help the animals. So, the first thing that humans can do would be to stop littering, because a lot of litter ends up on the sides of the road and in waterways of animals, and then the animals can either end up eating it and it harms them, or they can even get trapped in it, like sea turtles. If fishing nets get thrown into the ocean and stuff like that, they can get caught in it and they can't get out of it. They don't have a way of getting that off of their shells, so it ends up killing them. Another thing that humans do themselves is a lot of deforestation. And deforestation directly takes away the habitats and the environments for these animals to live in. So since they rely on their environment that they already live in, they are going to suffer if they have to move to a new one, and they may not be able to adapt to a new one, and so a lot of these animals that live there are going to die because they can't just pick up in a new spot and live like they did because they're so used to the environment that they were already existing in. So, for example, giant pandas are endangered, and they've been endangered since the 1990s, and they are actually endangered due to excessive poaching. So, a lot of people will kill pandas excessively and illegally for their fur and stuff like that. And the same goes for red pandas. They are also poached a lot, and they have also been killed due to habitat loss. So putting the two together, poaching them and they're losing their habitats and places to live, those two together are making it to where there's two factors playing in to them dying, so they're going to be dying even more quickly, so their population is even lower than a normal pandas. So for the next one, the green sea turtle, these are endangered due to two things as well, in which the first one would be over-harvesting of the eggs. So the turtles will lay their eggs on the beach in the sand, and they're covered up in a hole, but then people will go out to the beaches and dig them up and use them. So that kills the animal before they even get a chance to grow up and reproduce to begin with. And then the second thing is that, like I mentioned before, turtles, it's very common that turtles get caught in fishing gear and other litter that gets thrown out into the ocean. So that being said, they don't even have a chance to grow up sometimes and reproduce. And when they are older, they're being endangered as well. And then the last one that I have to show is the Bengal tiger, and they are endangered due to habitat loss because of deforestation. So humans will go and take dozers and all this other stuff and take a bunch of trees down, because they'll clear out a bunch of trees in order to have agricultural land or to even build buildings on. So going and taking away the trees is taking away their home, causing them to not have a place to live. And when you're doing this so much because there's really high levels of deforestation. There are multiple animals that rely on that, and so many of them are going to become endangered, and they don't have a place to live. So, that being said, there's a lot of things that humans need to do, or that they can do, to help these animals that are endangered. So, since humans cause a lot of the reasons why animals are endangered, they need to take steps into helping the animals recover, whether they have money or not to spend. You don't have to have money to spend to help animals. There's lots of things that can be done that doesn't require any money. Like, the first thing that people can do is stop taking away the animals' habitats. Because if the habitats are left alone, animals will maintain them on their own, and that'll just be natural. But when humans are going in and taking it away, that's us affecting them. So if humans just stop, then it will be fine. The next thing that humans can stop doing is littering. If humans do not litter, and they use things that can be recycled, and they actually recycle them, there won't be those animals eating trash that gets thrown out, or getting stuck in it, like I mentioned with the turtles. Other things that can be done is that humans can volunteer at wildlife refuges, and they can actually hands-on work with animals that have been endangered or hurt, and they can help them to recover and actually be put back out where they live, so they can have an actual recovery, so it doesn't affect their species and maybe becoming endangered. And then another thing is that using organic things, so things that are organic aren't going to hurt the environment being taken away or putting back in. So either way, it's not a big deal, because organic things are a lot better for the animals and the environment. So all of these things put together would really help all animals and species in general. So if humans take the action and they put themselves out there to do everything that they can for the animals, it's going to be a lot less likely for animals to become endangered, and the animals that are already endangered have a better chance of recovering and actually surviving and not being endangered anymore.